Welcome to Wrestling Goons Radio Weekend Edition. Today we will begin a 7-part series on the things in wrestling that help get a superstar over. That means with the audience liking them and wanting to see more of them, whether they win or lose, because in wrestling that is not always the most important thing. I have with me today Jason, who is going to be my only guest on the panel. We are going to run this thing ourselves. Jason, you ready to do this, man?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Alright, brother. Today we are going to start with catchphrases. That is going to be the first segment of our 7-part. Catchphrases might be the most important part of identifying with a character outside of the action in the ring. What it does is it's one little sentence or one little word. It's got to be something really short that the crowd can say it repeatedly. But it's something that everybody can have something that the crowd can holler back at them. The most famous one to me is going to be Hulk Hogan. He started with the "What You Gonna Do, Brother." Now everybody knows that listens to Wrestling Goons Radio, I despise Hulk Hogan. I hate Hulk Hogan.
I second that.
Yes, but I gotta give the man credit where it's due. He knows how to market himself. And what you gonna do, brother, is, it's 2015, and people are still ripping their shirts off. And they're still telling you to take their prayers and eat their vitamins. And we can go on and on with all the Hulk Hoganisms. And I'm sure you can throw you out there if you'd like that we all have threw up at hearing over the years. Because I'm pretty sure you're like me, Jason. When I hear that real American music start hitting, I have the urge, like the skin starts crawling on my arms. And I'm like, oh, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. But then it always happens. So, alright, anything on Hulk Hogan and his catchphrases?
I think it was genius how Vince packaged that all together. He was kind of the first real test dummy as far as catchphrases and how that would impact the particular superstar, because once you got the catchphrase, it's like, okay, I have something to attach to that particular wrestler. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to see it on a t-shirt, so I'm most likely going to buy it. And it just makes that character just larger than life.
Yeah.
Even if we hate him. So,
yeah.
As you can see now, it's been like 20, 30 years, and we're still thinking of, what you gonna do, brother? And so I think it was a nice formula that worked out, and I see it helping superstars even today with it. So
it just occurred to me, now that you were sitting there mentioning exactly how long it was, that we are 28 years ago that Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant.
Wow.
28 years ago, man. Oh. Rest in peace, Andre. By the way, this isn't part of the catchphrases thing, but now that we're talking about Andre, and he really doesn't have a catchphrase, is he a Big Show for all the insults that he's given Andre the Giant recently? Calling himself the only real giant, and Andre shouldn't have this. No, you do not talk about Andre the Giant in such a way. The man never lost a battle royal. Ever. Ever. He never lost. I don't care if it was in Japan, Ireland, Mexico, Antarctica, he never lost. Period.
That's true.
So, yeah. Screw you, Big Show. Andre didn't need a catchphrase. Andre showed up. That was Andre's catchphrase. He was there.
Yeah, pretty much. But, Big Show will say whatever to get some heat. Yeah. And then he'll base again, then a heat.
And again, we're talking about how important it is getting over. Can you name a catchphrase Big Show has had in his whole career? Because I can't.
You know what? The Rock actually gave him a catchphrase, and it was...
Yes. And the greatest promoter, and I'll tell you this, that was also awesome. We're talking about catchphrases. We'll jump to the Rock next, because he has so many. But my favorite Rock promo was the one he did on SmackDown, where he cuts one on Big Show and The Undertaker, and that's the one when he said, you do this, and then he says the Mickey Mouse tattoos, And then they proceeded to both walk out and whoop his ass. They just beat him down. And I'm sitting there going, Rock has no sense. Why would he call out these two mammoths and insult everything about them, knowing they're gonna kill him? They're gonna destroy him. Yeah, that was awesome. But the Big Show, that just goes to prove my point that, he never had a way to identify with the audience. The Big Show has just kind of always been there. Like, you'll never hear somebody say, who my favorite wrestler is? Big Show. You're not gonna hear that. So, while we're there, while we are in touch on him, The Rock. The Rock, for our era and the Attitude Era, I mean, a lot of people would say that Stone Cold had the charisma. When it comes to catchphrases, well, nobody can touch The Rock. And if you smell what The Rock is cooking, it doesn't even make sense. Nothing in the catchphrase makes sense. But if you were a teenager in high school at my time, you had a shirt that said that. And you had a shirt that had the bull on it with the smoking, nostrils. You had it. Because if you didn't have it, you wasn't cool. So, it made no sense. I still don't get it in 2015. I don't know what The Rock is cooking. I wish he would tell me. But I don't really care because I know when The Rock comes up. And that's the thing about The Rock. Whenever you got that many catchphrases, The Rock can tell 20,000 people in the audience to chant Mary Had a Little Lamb. And they would chant Mary Had a Little Lamb because The Rock told them to do it.
Exactly.
I can't even explain what kind of power that must feel like.
Gosh, I mean, he had, like you said, he has so many catchphrases. He was smart enough. Like, I think when he was first trying them out, he would still keep at it, and then once it caught on, like, I think what he did with if you smell what The Rock is cooking, the smartest thing he did was add it to his entrance. Yes. So it's like, okay, you're just going to identify me as that, and I'm going to do the eyebrow after I say it. So.
Well, it's kind of like Austin. Like, think about how impactful Austin's music wouldn't be if you didn't have that glass breaking at the beginning.
That's true.
It wouldn't matter. So The Rock needed something to top that. So what does he do? He puts the catchphrase at the beginning of his song. And not only that, The Rock was also smart that he sang his own catch. He sang his theme song. Yeah. Not many people would do that. Shawn Michaels did it, but not many other people. By the way, too, seeing how we're talking about there, Sean, real quick, it's not cool in 2015 to sing the same song that you sang in 91 with your voice from 91. It's not working. Like, Sean, it's time to change the theme song. Like, you're not a sexy boy anymore. Oh, my goodness.
Didn't even have the same snares, 80 snares.
Yeah, exactly. There is no more. But I tell you what, man, Sean can still go every single time he's out there. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he's not there anymore, but I feel like we got robbed of a Daniel Bryan, Shawn Michaels match. And maybe we'll get it one day, but I don't think so, because time is ticking. And Father Time waits for no one. Daniel Bryan is the modern day Rock, I guess you would say, with one word. Yes. And I don't know how this one word caught into a phenomenon, but you got people at Michigan State basketball games standing up chanting yes. You got the World Series champions, San Francisco Giants. They're making yes their theme that they're going around. Like, it's crazy. And how did it happen, Jason? Where did, explain the yes movement to me? Because I know you're not a big fan of it.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if it was a WrestleMania or what, but he just went out. No, it was when he won.
I can tell you the night it happened. The night it happened was on a random match between Randy Orton and Christian on SmackDown. And Daniel Bryan came out and just started saying yes, running around the apron.
It was supposed to be annoying.
Yeah, that was it. It was the bad guy thing. It was a heel. And the night he broke up with AJ, the whole promo was supposed to be Daniel Bryan being the heel and everybody feeling bad for AJ. By the end of that promo, somehow AJ was the bad guy for costing Daniel Bryan his match by distracting him at WrestleMania, and the crowd was pro Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
And I don't even know. Like, and I'll be honest, like before Daniel Bryan came to WWE, everybody told me they were like, "Oh man, they got Bryan Danielson. You just don't know. You have no idea." And I didn't, because I didn't watch independent stuff back then. I had no idea. So watching Daniel Bryan's rise to the top, I didn't know him as anything other than Daniel Bryan. So when he won all those belts in the beginning, I was like, "Who is this little guy? Like, what is?" I mean, in the end, we all know he does deserve that spot because he's just great. But, yeah, I did not understand it at the beginning. It took me a long time to get on. I think it was around Team Hell No, though. Like when they started doing the anger management stuff. The anger man, I don't know whose idea that was to put those anger management collages together. But,
Oh, that was brilliant.
holy Jesus. I can go back and watch those now and still just laugh my ass off. That's the best work Kane's ever done. In his
Yes.
life.
Yes, I was going to say that too.
Yeah. It's not even close. Kane says his best work is with Undertaker. No, it's not, because Daniel Bryan is the only time Kane has been in the main event for a full year. So, I'm sorry. And that's another thing. Daniel Bryan is going to make people... I don't even think he's necessary for this IC match. Like, I feel like he should be in a one-on-one match to elevate somebody else. Because now he's just blending into this match of God knows how many people. We don't even know how many are in it. So, and that's crazy. We're going to have a match where we don't even know the participants. We don't know. It could be anybody by the end of the night. Anybody can be a champ.
I guess that's kind of good. I mean, the element of surprise.
The only way I would buy into that is if they don't announce the winner. Like if the winner isn't grabbing the belt at all, and they bring in like Bubba Ray Dudley, and he pulls down the title, like that would be tight. But
Who is Bubba Ray?
yeah, unfortunately, what I heard was at the Royal Rumble, they did a one and done. It was literally show up, wave hi to the fans in Philly, because we're gonna make money off you being an ECW guy, and go home.
Oh.
Yeah, man. That's what I said too. Like, I don't think they realize the money that they have. Because, you know what? Forget the glasses. Like, it was nice seeing that for one night, seeing Bubba Ray. I don't want to see Bubba Ray Dudley in WWE. I want to see Bully Ray in WWE. That's what I want to see. I want to see the charisma, the Cavzilla. I want to see him bring back the Twitter, texting in the middle of the match. That stuff is interesting. And you know what? That's just as important as the catchphrase. Like the things you can do during a match that identify with the audience. That goes back to Daniel Bryan. When Daniel Bryan does his hands up like this, we all know that he's about to do that little running kick that he's about to do. And he's going to do the boots. Those are just as important. Also with the middle finger. You know, DX with the second chop. All those are just as important as catchphrases. Speaking of which, NWO, they had the whole thing. Too sweet. I know you threw up the too sweet when you were in school, right?
Oh yeah.
Come on, man. Everybody. Now you got the Bullet Club.
DX with
Yep. And now I don't know if you know about Bullet Club. They're in Japan and Ring of Honor. But they have combined the Too Sweet and the DX second chop into their own symbols. So now they just do them both. Yeah. AJ Styles and all them, they come out and they throw up the NWO sign and they end it with the second chop. So,
nice.
I don't know. I feel kind of robbed that way, you know? I'm like, you can at least come up with something that would be yourself, you know? That's kind of copyright infringement. I don't know. But, it works, though. Next on the catchphrase list, how can we have a segment on this without mentioning Ric Flair, Jason? I don't know about you.
Before we get into Rick, I do want to point out that there are non-wrestlers with catchphrases that helps wrestlers. Prime example, Vicky Guerrero and Paul Heyman.
Oh my gosh.
Those two? I mean, good lord, excuse me!
I don't think the WWE realizes how much they miss Vicky Guerrero. Like, they need her really bad.
Oh. She got heat like nobody else. Just
if you needed heat,
wow.
all you had to do was plug her in a segment. That's it. You could have Kofi Kingston versus R-Truth, and she could walk out and say,
Yep.
"Excuse me," and all of a sudden the crowd wakes up. They're like, "Oh, who is this?"
Yep.
And The Rock singing his song. I hated it at the time because I was personally mad at The Rock. I was real mad, and I'll explain why. It wasn't because he was a part-time champion coming back and getting the title handed to him. It was because the night after the Royal Rumble, the Raw that was preceding was in Atlanta, which is where I'm from, and I bought tickets, and The Rock was the champion, and the first night he was champion, you know where The Rock was? Not in Atlanta. That's right.
I understand that.
Oh, I was so mad at The Rock. Now, I have forgiven The Rock since then, but it took a long time. Rocky, just know, there was the only time that I thought I was going to get to see you at a show and you wasn't there. Don't ever do that to me again. But, yeah, I agree with you, Vicky Guerrero. Paul Heyman, I don't think Paul Heyman intended for ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman to be a catchphrase. I really don't think he intended it for, but it is now. Like, everybody in the audience says it with him. Everyone.
Yep.
And I like now how in 2015, how even if you're a fan of the baby faces, like you can love John Cena and Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, but when Paul Heyman talks, you listen. You stop. You stop and you're like, I'm listening to gold right now. Like I'm listening to a man sell me completely. And I don't know how he does it. I don't know how every single week he can top himself from the week before.
He's not scripted. I think that's what helps.
But still, like there's a point where I say it can't get any better than this week, and somehow next week it's better than last week. Like this last week, man. Oh my God! Whenever like 2 weeks ago when he said Andre's dead, you idiot. Notice I didn't say that. I was like, okay, that's the worst thing he can say. But then this week, when he called out the UFC and said my client will unify both of them, I was like, you just pulled the curtain all the way back, kicked the door down. He called out Kevin Dunn on the microphone. Straight up called it. Oh, he said everything but the name Kevin Dunn. If you know anything about wrestling, you know he was talking about Kevin Dunn. And if you know anything about me, you know that the person I hate more than Hulk Hogan is Kevin Dunn. I hate Kevin Dunn. Oh. If Kevin Dunn ever has somebody conspire against him, you can go ahead on the Wrestling News on this podcast and use it as evidence that I am a suspect. I went after Kevin Dunn. Oh, super. That's my catchphrase. Screw Kevin Dunn. Oh, man. How about The Undertaker? Rest in peace.
Was it? I mean, yeah, I guess it was a catchphrase.
Everybody knows that's how he ended his promo, man.
Yeah, but other things stuck out more for me about Undertaker than his catchphrase.
Well, I don't think Undertaker talked really, you know what I mean? So, whatever he said kind of meant a lot more. And a lot of times what he said, like really in the early days, they let him talk too much, and it was terrible. And then, like, if you're gonna keep rambling about things that don't make sense, like only one man can get away with that, the Ultimate Warrior. And we're not even gonna try to cover what his promos and catchphrases are, because I don't even think he can tell us if he were still here today, because he doesn't know what he was saying half the time. No offense to Ultimate Warrior, rest in peace. Again, not one of my favorite wrestlers. You know, I get a lot of flack for that too. I know when Macho Man died, I was like, rest in peace, but I wasn't a big Macho Man guy. I really wasn't. And I didn't like Warrior. I mean, I'm not gonna, sit here all of a sudden the day they died and say they were the best thing ever to me, because they're just not gonna do that. No offense to any of the listeners out there. If you like Warrior, that's your preference. Go ahead. I'm glad that they're giving the Warrior Award to Connor McKaylee. Kudos to that.
Good.
That's awesome. Good. Little boy deserves it more than anybody else getting it. But yeah, I guess you're right. The Undertaker, his whole look and his just the appearance, his entrance is what stood out to the Undertaker. Like,
Now, when he was the American Badass,
uh,
like his promos was cringeworthy.
yeah. I mean, the only thing I liked about that is he came out with a dip in his lip. So I would always hope that he would spit on somebody,
Yeah,
and normally he would. Cause to me, like if you spit on me with normal saliva, that's already like a big no-no. Like if I was a wrestler, there would be so many things that I would not do. Like you're not
yeah.
spitting in my face. That's not happening at all. Period. You're not hitting me over the head with a chair. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. I don't care how good it might feel. No, it's not happening. So, um, yeah, but if you spit tobacco juice on me, that's about to get real. It's about to get real, man. It's about to get real. My dad calls it in wrestling, shooting. He said you don't pull anything back. So my dad, he calls it giving a receipt. And he said if somebody hit him one too many times with a real punch, then you take them and you push them back into the turnbuckle, into the corner, and make it look like it's a spot, and then you start throwing real fists into their gut. And that happens quite a bit that we don't realize. Like, there's a lot of these in matches that get physical, and we're sitting there just going, oh man, they made that look pretty real. Yeah, that's because it was.
You can tell.
Yeah, so I went back and watched the Edge and Matt Hardy feud the other day. Oh my goodness.
Yes, indeed.
You want to talk about pulling no punches? Those guys pulled no punches.
That was brutal.
It was bad.
And hopefully, the Reigns Brock Lesnar match has some of that in there.
Yeah,
It's going to need it.
they gotta go all out because oh yeah, speaking of catchphrases, guys, you're gonna notice that we are not mentioning Roman Reigns, and there's a good reason for that because we don't believe that. Okay, so and nobody else does either because I don't know if you noticed this when Roman Reigns ends every promo with that, nobody says it.
It is quiet.
They're not
Like,
saying it with you, Roman. They like he's better off, and I don't know why he's not talking about the Roman Empire. That's way more catchier.
exactly.
Way more catchier than believe that. Just you're the Roman Empire. Stick with that. I don't even know. Yeah, but we're almost at the end. We're gonna go with Ric Flair next because he is the king of the catchphrase. I grew up hating Ric Flair, and a couple of years later, once I lost my childhood innocence and realized what this business really was, I grew to respect Ric Flair more than anybody else. Woo! That's the first one. To be honest with you though, and that's crazy as it may sound, that wasn't what stuck out on me for Ric Flair. The very first phrase I remember is him saying, to be the man, you gotta meet the man. And
Yep.
that before woo or anything, that's what I remember. And I remember thinking, that arrogant man, that little cocky, because I just knew he was. And you know what, by the time I watched it in the late 80s, like I'm sure like in the early 80s and the late 70s, Flair was a jacked ripped guy. I've seen pictures. But he just looked like an old man in the late 80s and early 90s. And I'm like, how is this guy the champion? This flabby old man with a knot in his back, and he's got all these women on his side. Like, what are they seeing? This old guy? Like, I was always so jealous of Ric Flair. And then I wanted to be Ric Flair. I wanted to be the old guy. I was like, hey, he's got it all. Let me be Ric Flair. To meet the man, you gotta meet the man. Let me see if I can do it justice. The limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time holding these haters down.
It's like that's almost a promo all in itself, and the fact that it's a catchphrase.
Man.
It's
No, the fact that you got cheerleaders and football players doing this after playoff games. It's
Yes.
ridiculous. You got five, dude, the cheerleaders one, I lost it. I was like, these fine, blonde women are quoting Ric Flair. Give me your number, please. Oh my god.
And again, these are like 2 and 3 decades old.
Ric Flair,
And we're still doing it.
yeah, Ric Flair. I mean, that's the power of people like Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. And you know what? I'm going to give Flair even more credit because Hogan always had that national global stage. He
Right.
always had that. Flair made his. Flair made his by traveling the globe and putting every single territory over, every one of them.
Exactly.
So whenever they ask me who the real world champion is, by the way, I say this every chance I get on a podcast. The day that overrated fruity pebble wearing John Cena gets number 16 and ties Ric Flair,
Oh,
I swear on everything that is me. There is, I'm a NASCAR guy, so it's like when people tell me that Jimmy Johnson is gonna tie Dale Earnhardt, so Jimmy Johnson is like the best driver, blah blah blah. No, he's not, because times were different back in the day, okay? They were
yeah.
different. And Ric Flair is the last real world champion. All the ones since the NWA merged and they stopped the whole global, they aren't world champions, okay? They are heavyweight champions. Ric Flair was the world champion.
Yep.
And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go on my little tirade because it could be a whole another 30-minute show. But should we even say You Can't See Me? Do we want to give the last few minutes to that?
No.
No?
I don't want. I mean, I should, but I don't want to. I'd rather talk about Triple H because he had. Well, currently he has Best for Business. I don't think he intended for that to be a catchphrase.
That caught on. That caught on. And I think Stephanie helps it a lot with getting it over, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's another person. Like, Stephanie doesn't really need a catchphrase. It's just instant heat. Whatever Stephanie says is heat.
Oh, yeah.
And I love
Vince
it.
with the "you're fired."
Yeah,
That's
great. Vince, yeah, how are we going to do it without Vince? Vince never even needed, he developed his own character with words. He was just the announcer guy. And that's another thing. If you're the owner of the company, why would he not use that? Why did he only want to be an announcer for almost a decade? It was probably longer than that. Like, he was an announcer only for a long time. He didn't start coming out as a character until Bret Hart. With the whole screwjob thing leading up to it.
Bret Hart. Oh.
Yeah, we're the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Or as I like to call him, ladies and gentlemen, Bret the Shitman Hart. Because he is terrible. Bret Hart is terrible. I'm sorry. He does wrestle good matches. I'm not going to take it away from him. He doesn't cut bad promos. Maybe it's the pink. I don't know. There's just something about Bret Hart that I have never liked. Ever. Not one day in my life have I ever cheered for Bret Hart, and I never will. Ever. He could fight Hulk Hogan, and I would probably wear my red and yellow. I probably would. Man.
I think with Bret Hart, my best feud with him was with Stone Cold.
I guess I enjoyed the Owen thing, because I always liked Owen, so Bret and Owen was okay with me, because I always wanted Owen to take Bret out. I was like, yeah, Bret. But I didn't like Bret in the Austin feud. Like, I was all Austin, all the way.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I felt like Bret really, and I think that's where Bret really realized he was losing it. Because Austin was killing him in promos, just killing him. And he could not hang with Austin when it comes to talking. So.
It seemed like ever since Austin hurt his neck, he toned it down like 2 notches.
See, I'm going to go a little bit extreme to that. I feel like when his neck broke, that developed Stone Cold Steve Austin because he didn't have to wrestle. So all he did was come out every single week and leave the show with a promo where Vince is not letting him wrestle, but he wants to wrestle. That's the whole thing with the broken neck. They never let it known that he couldn't wrestle. He always said, but I'm going to fight anyway. You're going to give me a match tonight because I want a match. I don't care what the doctors say. And they're like, no, we're not letting you fight. You're not medically cleared. And then he would just stun the hell out of everybody and walk off.
Now, if Roman Reigns would have done that during his injury,
yes,
then I think this build-up would have been a lot better.
I agree. I totally agree. And I know I was the same way with Daniel Bryan. When Daniel Bryan last year after WrestleMania, if he has the neck injury, what have you. Um, he's the hottest guy you have right now. You need to have him on the show doing something. I don't care what it is. He needs to do something. If he can walk, he needs to do something. And they really dropped the ball. And I think you're seeing it now because, yeah, the Yes movement is still pretty big, really big, but it's not as big as it was. Like, the crowd isn't as loud as they were when Daniel Bryan comes out. It hurt. It hurts being gone that long when the crowd doesn't see you. It's good to go away for a while. It really is. It's actually better sometimes because they need to miss you, but they don't mean to forget you. They need to miss you, not forget you. There's a balance in there. So, anybody else we're going to cover here before we wrap this up for the catchphrases? Any honorable mentions you'd like to mention?
Can't really think of any right now.
Yeah, we really went through a whole lot of them. We will let y'all comment on the Facebook post here if we have any that we've left out that y'all would like to mention. Mention it to us. Leave us a comment. Like us on Facebook at the Wrestling Goons Radio. We are in the process of updating our Twitter. We will have that for you within the coming weeks, along with a new podcast format. We will be back with you on Wednesday night with the Raw review leading up to WrestleMania. We are 3 weeks away and counting. Build up getting close. Jason, got a final word for us?
No. Actually, yes. Believe.
Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, folks. You heard it here. We are predicting Bo Dallas. He's gonna be a surprise entrance. I'd be okay with him pulling down the Intercontinental title too, by the way. Bo can come out and just, take back what was rightfully his. He was an Intercontinental champion at one time. Just saying.
Yeah.
And by the way, Dan, Adam Rose never won an Intercontinental title. Adam Rose never won anything. He likes to bring up the fact that Adam Rose is the guy that ended the Bo streak. You know what? No. So, I believe R-Truth did, actually. Either way, R-Truth is great right now, probably. I can't even talk about him enough. He's phenomenal. I don't know where this guy's been for the last 3 years, but I need more of him. He's great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Alright, well, for Jason and myself, we will be back Wednesday night, and we will see you on the flip side.
Peace.